and then you're there seeing this patient and she's like with her mask and you're like, wait, mommy, wait. Hey guys, welcome to or back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to another video of this medical life, this me in uniform. You will probably be asking, why is she so hyper? I am operating on a total of 3 hours of sleep since Monday. So yes, I need to get this video in and then go and sleep, post-call issues. So thank you so much for coming back. It's Dr. Kasempa Monze, or Comedian for most, just KP. Today I want to talk about two things. They're going to be like 2 videos in one. So first thing I want to talk about is the challenges of a young female doctor. And second thing I'm going to talk about is Corona Real, my story. So the challenges of a young female doctor. It is no surprise that being a female doctor it's hard. It's not as easy as the other gender has it, and this is so because of a number of reasons that are probably overlooked by society, and also a number of reasons that our own colleagues put on us. So the first thing is you're young. The number of times a patient has called me mwana away, meaning child, I'd probably open a gold card bank account if I was given 100 kwacha for each time a patient referred to me as a child. Being young in the medical profession is equated to being inexperienced. And yeah, I don't have as much experience as the consultant I'm working with, but I did 7 years in school. You at least have to give me credit for that. 7 whole years in school, in medical school, and another 12 this other side. So yeah, being young is just it's like the major thing. It's a major challenge that we always face. People don't want to be seen by you because you're young. I remember one time doing my obstetrics rotation, obstetrics and gynecology. My consultant, we had gotten to a stage where he could trust me to do the gyne clinic. And so I would start with my rounds, and around 10 o'clock, I would go into the clinic room, I guess you could call it that, where I would be screening patients, outpatient gynecological patients. So, they're all seated there and waiting, and some of them are old patients, some of them are coming for the first time. And so the nurse has been, piling up their books and taking their vitals and telling them, oh, the doctor is gonna come. You'll see the doctor when he or she walks into the, to the screening room. And so I get there with my bag, but then I wasn't even this chubby, and these cheeks, they've done wonders for me. I was skinny. I was pre-wedding skinny, stress skinny. So I'm walking there with my backpack and my scrubs. I remember I spent my whole obstetrics and gynecology rotation in scrubs. I never went to work in my ordinary clothes. So I get there and I'm unlocking, and this elderly woman, she could have been in her 40s, like late 40s, almost 50. She's like, Eva doctor, meaning like, oh, so that's the doctor, and her book, funny enough, her book was first. So she came in and she's like, my sister, a doctor, like a sister or nurse, we're here to see the doctor. And I smiled, and I'm like, I'm the person you're here to see. Sorry, ma'am, I can't touch one of your I don't speak a lot of them, but she was basically saying you're young and we didn't expect you. We expected, an elderly person, and more often than not, or even more, they expected a man. Next challenge is being female. So, like I finished the previous point, the woman was expecting an older person, and even more, she's expecting a male doctor. Being female is it's beautiful, but in the medical spheres, you are a nurse. As long as you're in the hospital, regardless of what you're wearing, you can be in scrubs, your lab coat, stethoscope, a tag written doctor, and they'll still say Vanas. Doesn't matter. If you're female in the hospital to the rest of the world, you are a nurse. No, I have nothing against nurses. I do have something against being called a nurse because I'm not, I'm just not. And I won't pretend like it's a good thing to be called. I'm a doctor. I studied for it. I'm working as it. So don't call me a nurse. But yes, those are challenge. That's challenge number 2 that we face. Being female. you are never given the respect that a doctor should be given simply because you're a woman. The third thing is being a lady. So when I say being female, I mean the gender, the sex part of it. And when I say being a lady, it's attributes. So sometimes doctors, your senior doctors, and sometimes even the nurses will prefer to ask a male doctor to do something or to help them with something. As a student, okay, so this is not a doctor story, it's a student story, but still, as a student, I loved helping and assisting during general surgeries or general surgery operations and orthopedics. And there are a couple of other students that were doing so as well, but I think I was one out of two girls. And the other girl really didn't care much about ortho. She'd be like, I just go. I know you like it, so go. I'll be here. I'll cover the round. And I get to theater and I'm in my scrubs, and I was even smaller then. If you think I was small before the wedding, I was tiny as a student. And I get there and the consultant is thinking, okay, so it's that checklist they do in theater just before operating. And so the nurse or the runner starts, the checklist, and everyone has to introduce yourself by name. And so the consultant starts, Dr. Lala, consultant, this other one, scrub nurse, anesthetist, runner. And that particular day, the orthopedic doctor that I usually worked under wasn't around. So there's just the consultant and I, and the nurse and the runner and the anesthetist. And so I'm there like, Kasepa, medical student, stroke assistant. And he looks at me, and they all look at me, and this tiny little girl working on oral fixation and oral reduction and internal fixation, which is ORIF, basically fixing your bones of a thigh of a really huge woman. And yeah, orthopedics is, I'm sorry to have to say this, but they call it a man's job because you have to be strong, you have to be physically fit to do it. I beat the odds. I did need quite a lot of help though. So yeah, things like that. Your colleagues will prefer a male to do it because they're just stronger and more capable of doing it, and probably even more resilient. Like, I mean, even when you're on call in a big hospital like UTH or Levy, you'll find that the guys themselves actually would say, okay, you go sleep. Since you're a girl, you're probably weak, or you're probably tired, you're probably sleepy. You go sleep, stuff like that. So the other thing is that homework balance. So major appreciation for all the helpful husbands and brothers and fathers and mothers and sisters. But let's face it, you're female, you have a home to take care of, and you have work to balance. Now you'll be coming home and you're exhausted, and you gotta cook supper, or you gotta wash the dishes. You gotta wash, you gotta do laundry, you have to sweep the house, you have to clean up, you have to do so many things, and you almost forget that you're a doctor and you have work to think about as well. You have that patient that you didn't review, those results you have to try to think about and make a proper diagnosis for the patient, or at least change the treatment plan. And when you get to work, you're thinking to yourself, okay, is there food at home? Is the house clean? You have that homework conflict, not even balance. That homework conflict is another issue that you always face. And with guys, wake up, take a bath, go to work. Go home, there's food waiting for you, there's a bath waiting for you, there's a bed, clean, nice house waiting for you, and you're just like, Lord, why is so much injustice? Anyway, last but not least, the need to be appreciated. And so, like I said, the preference of the guys over the girls is so much. And as a lady, you end up like compensating or overcompensating just to be recognized, just for your work to be recognized. While as the guy would just, live his life. Now, I'm not saying this happens to everyone. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it does. And you end up overworking yourself just so that you can get the same amount of appreciation that's probably being ascribed to your male colleague. Okay, so I'm done with the challenges. The next thing, is Corona real? Yes, Corona is real. So since it started, we have been very we've been challenged mentally. Our mental health has really been put to test because as young doctors, you're the junior house officers, therefore you're in the hospital 3/4 of the time, or at least 90% of the time. You're the ones in the hospital. You're the first line people. You're the ones seeing the people, screening the people rather. And you find that you see a patient and they have all the signs and symptoms of corona. They have cough, they have difficulties breathing, they have high temperature, they can't complete a sentence. There's, a history of living in a high, what's the word? High risk area. And some of them even have a history of travel. And then you're there seeing this patient and she's like with her mask and you're like, wait, mommy, wait. I still have my life ahead of me and you're just there coughing in my face and fam. So, in the time that I have been working at Matero, I have seen at least 4 patients who were eventually referred to UTH and died. Now, of course, the cause of death was other disease, like they were comorbid. Comorbid basically means they had other diseases apart from the corona. But you see, you have it in the back of your mind, like, what if I have it? And what if this is it? Because some people are not getting out of it alive. Thank God, Zambia has had a really good outcome as opposed to Europe. But still, you're thinking to yourself, I have it. I'm so young. I just started life. I just started working. I just got married. And here's someone who's got corona coughing in my face and you're just thinking, what is going on? So in July, the last 2 weeks of July, I got a flu. I got a really, really bad flu. Like, I was basically a corona candidate, if you want to call it that, if you want to call me that. And I went to work and, everyone's just stigmatizing me. And even my husband, he's quite the careful guy. So he's like, babe, did you think you should, go to the hospital or get some medication or get screened? And I felt sorry for him because he's such a high-risk person as well, being in contact with me on a daily. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to get screened. I'm just going to get it over and done with. And that thing is uncomfortable. It's worse than getting water in your nose when you're swimming and about to drown. If that's happened to you, you know what I'm talking about. And so I went to the tent. So there's this isolated tent where they're screening people, and the guy that's swabbing is like, even before you get here, I can already tell you are very sick. Sit down. And so he's writing stuff and, taking down my details, my phone number, my next of kin. And when he got to next of kin, I was like, oh Lord, I'm dying. That's it. They even want my next of kin now. So he got my details and come and do that jabbing thing. And I'm like, ugh. Okay, long story short, I survived. And I only got my results a month later. I don't even know why. I should have gotten them within the same week. But I only got them a month later, and thank heavens I was negative. But imagine if I was positive. Like, all of you that saw me during that period of time would be at high risk. That's not to scare you, just to let you know how real this disease is. So anyway, is corona real? Yes, it's real. Should you continue wearing a mask? Yes, you should. Should you keep away from public gatherings? Yeah, yes to that too. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sorry I seem so hyped up, but like I said, 3 hours of sleep. Right now, all I want is my bed. Well, bath, then bed. And I'll see you in the next video.